is nothing that anyone can do to take away your worthiness as a person. Okay, and actually there's nothing that anyone can do to prove your worthiness as a person either. Very often when we're triggered, especially when it comes to a specific person, situation, or a romantic relationship, when we're triggered is because we've made the meaning that what they did or didn't do meant that we were not worthy. And so we take it very, very personally, and that creates those triggers and those uncomfortable feelings, and it creates that need and dependency on a person to show up in a certain way in order for us to feel okay about ourselves. And all of that is just a distorted thinking. It's the way that our childlike brains learn to perceive and really know who we are and how we feel about ourselves, because that's what we did when we were younger. So it makes sense. But in our adult selves, as your grown up, mature self, okay, you don't need to rely on anyone to prove to you your worthiness anymore, because you know logically that you were worthy the minute that you were born. Okay, so if you can have this mindset, it actually makes you so unshakable in your self-concept, and it will take time and practice to really get it. But if you can really say to yourself, there is nothing that my specific person can do or not do that would prove or disprove my worthiness as a person. Okay, so then you can take whatever it is that they're doing or not doing less personally, and it can become less triggering in time. And you can show up as your worthy whole self, and your self-concept and your confidence will improve. And as a result of that, your relationships start to change and you become less dependent on this person to meet those needs that maybe you were looking for to be met as a child. Okay, so often these patterns that we have of looking at a person to make us feel worthy and make us feel whole have just been literally patterns in our nervous system and in our neural pathways in our brain that we created from a really young age when we didn't get certain needs met. Okay, it's so common. It's basically like a world pandemic of not feeling worthy. So many people have this feeling, but when we become conscious, we start to create differently, because we can start to see where we held on to stories when we were young, how we are still living in those old narratives, and now we get to change them. We get to embody a new truth, that we're worthy no matter what, and there's nothing that anyone can do to prove or disprove it. So one of my one-to-one clients, she was anxiously waiting for a message from her specific person, and she was nervous about what he would say in reply to her message, which is such a common thing. You know, we sit there anxiously looking at our phone, waiting for a response. And really in this situation, the fear is, if this person says something or does something that I don't want, that I don't like, then really I'm going to believe that I'm not good enough. I'm going to have that horrible feeling that I've carried with me for my whole life, and it's going to be proven to me that I'm not good enough if this person doesn't respond the way that I want them to. So the remedy for this was to say to herself, there is nothing that he can do to prove or disprove my worthiness. In fact, there's no response that he could give me which would shake my knowing that I am worthy and I'm good enough. And so whatever he says in reply is okay, you know, because it doesn't actually affect me or my knowing of myself, you see. And then that takes away a large proportion of that trigger. And if it doesn't, all it means is there's just practice to be done. There's just that repetition of knowing and leaning into that truth. And it can take time, it can take support, it can take guidance, and that's fine. But start there, start with that belief. There's nothing that this person can do or say to shake or change my worthiness as a person. And I know that sometimes these patterns can be so ingrained in our nervous system, in our identity, in who we believe we are, that actually they can feel very difficult to shift. But they don't have to be. It can change. You can change it. And learning to understand and work with the nervous system is something that is so powerful and so important. It will actually change your life when you learn to regulate your nervous system and become conscious of the patterns and the stories and the narratives that have been running without you even being aware of them, so that you can show up differently and create change in your relationships from the inside out. Okay, so this is something that I do on the Conscious Creators Masters Academy. I've just started enrolling for the new cohort. I'm so excited to meet this new group, which will start in the end of March. So if you'd like a space on this small group, then there is a deal on at the moment, which is that the first 4 people who sign up will get it for £500 instead of £650. So if you're interested in taking one of those first 4 places, or if you'd like to know more about the Academy, payment plans or anything about it, I'd love to hear from you. We can have a chat on the phone and we can talk about where you're at. There's also one-to-one coaching options now available on my website. So if you would like to speak to me and tell me where you're at, then there's a way for you to do that. So if you'd like to know any more about any of these things, then let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.